Many times we get into real estate for more money, more freedom, more flexibility, and because we're passionate about the industry or passionate about houses, right? And oftentimes we get hamstrung by our freedom, our flexibility, and no finances. And instead of being able to actually win that opportunity, we get stuck in this hamster wheel of frustration. And so what I often tell new agents, and what I'm so excited to unpack, is the grit and the hard work that agents put in at the beginning, the failure they went through, and help some of our agents that are in those growing parts of their career, even the new parts of their career, to say, I'm going to put in the hard work now so that I can earn the right to have the flexibility and freedom I want in the future.
So the big question is this: how do most agents who don't have access to the secrets that the top agents in our industry hoard to themselves grow and prosper in today's real estate environment? That's the question. And this video podcast is the answer. I'm Pat Hyben, and welcome to Real Estate Rockstars.
Real Estate Rockstars, this is Aaron Amuchastegui. Man, the interview we just had is such a treat. You are going to be so excited to get to listen to Matt Templeton. Good friend of mine I met many years ago, and his personality alone helps you figure out why he is a successful real estate agent. But so many of the stories that he talks about, he goes into detail about how you can create kind of your own leads and the simplest way to be able to grow that. How in his first 9 months of real estate, he had no deals. So many people would have quit at 9 months, but then before the end of that first year, he had 11 deals that he closed. Got his real estate license when he was 18. Not many people are still in the same career they wanted to be at 18, and he is out there crushing it. He also gets to talk about the different lessons of building teams and moving and everything else. So this one is going to be such a great one. So much actionable data in here. So if you're driving, be ready to figure out how you're going to take some notes. If you're at home, get out that notebook and be ready. So you're going to learn so much on this one. Welcome back, Real Estate Rockstars. Real Estate Rockstars, this is Aaron Amuchastegui, today's host of the Real Estate Rockstar podcast. I am so excited to be on here today, talking to my good friend, Matt Templeton. Yeah, I met Matt a few years ago, and if you meet this guy in person, just his energy that he has and how generous he is and how outgoing he is and ready to meet people, you will not be surprised when you find out that he is also a rock star real estate agent. Right before I get into that, I want to read one of the reviews that we just had. This one just got posted 3 days ago in iTunes. I thought this was great. This was from Sam Torres 2012. So it closed 26 deals. Thanks to the Real Estate Rockstars, I was able to model many of the lead generating techniques, negotiating techniques, etc., implemented by top producers. I came to the real estate market with no experience or knowledge about the business. I wasn't even an entrepreneur. However, I tested many of the concepts explained here, and after a few months, I was able to find the system that suits my personality. I closed 26 deals in 2019, and I know it's all because of Real Estate Rockstars. Thank you so much to everyone willing to share, and to Pat, you're the rock star. God bless Sam Torres, San Antonio. Sam, thank you for that killer review. That is exactly what we're hoping to do with this podcast, be able to share the concepts. And I love what he says about he was able to find the system that suits his personality. So if that isn't a reason to listen to this podcast and go download and subscribe, I don't know what is. But as we get started, now I got to interview my good friend, Matt. Matt, hey, how's it going, man?
Oh, it's going so good. We got so many fun projects going on right now.
Man, I cannot wait to hear about it. So tell everybody kind of where you are in the U.S. because when I call you, there's just sort of a few different places that you're always hopping between. Today you're kind of in the middle of traveling, but we're able to get on. Tell us, where you're located, what you've been doing, and how you got into real estate.
Yeah, that's a great question. So I started in real estate 15 years ago in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and I built a real estate team in Albuquerque. My team still is there. And a few years ago, 5 years ago, I moved to Dallas to run a Keller Williams brokerage and to launch another team to focus on investing and helping our clients there. So I have real estate businesses in both Albuquerque and Dallas, the DFW area. And started 15 years ago, have gotten to build and grow and learn and fail along the way in a lot of different places in the real estate game.
Wow. So unpack that for me again. So you started in Albuquerque, New Mexico. How long were you there before you felt like, hey, my team is now established so I can go set up another team somewhere else? Like that seems like such a long time to be able to have two teams.
Yeah, I actually started as an assistant for the first year or two. And so I got to get that mentorship of following around agents and seeing how they did it. And I got my license right when I turned 18 and spent about 8 years selling, sold as an individual agent, started a partnership, then added a team member, then restarted a team, kind of went through all the different variations that people go through as they're trying to figure out how to build something bigger than just themselves. And finally, about 4 years ago, I said, okay, I can let one of my top agents run this business for me. And I stepped out of it. And then I just started collecting a profit check on that business. So I'd check in with the team, coach and consult, and they ran that business while I lived in Dallas and ran other businesses.
Yeah, that is so freaking cool. We try to tell people that they can build like horizontal real estate, or horizontal income through investments. And that horizontal income, the idea of that is money that you make while you're sleeping. And so for me as a real estate guy, I think about that being, I'm going to buy a house, I'm going to rent it out. That's horizontal income. That's money that I make whether I work or not. But you were actually able to take a real estate career and just working in real estate and kind of create that horizontal income that way. Before we get into the rest of the questions, that's actually just super interesting. Do you think that's very common? If you were going to tell somebody, what goals to set to be able to do that, could you give any advice on that?
Yeah, truthfully, if I had to do it over, I probably would have done it a little bit differently. I love the idea of building a business to step out of so that you can continue making income on it. In fact, passive income or horizontal income has been a major focus of my life for several years. I've said, I need to build more streams of income so that if one fails or if I need to have more income in the future, I've got security in those multiple income streams. Yeah, so I now have, between all the different businesses and real estate and things, it's about 11 passive income streams that I have right now. And the thing that I would tell people if they were thinking about building a business bigger than themselves is really master the art of hiring great people. And yet at the beginning, what we really have to do is build a business that is big enough to afford those people and bring those people into our world. So the first step is build a business that grows beyond yourself. And then the second step is learn how to hire at such a level where you can attract really great talent. I do recommend to people to build the business that's bigger than themselves and look at what does it look like to expand or grow or to step out of a business. I probably wouldn't have moved 9 hours away the first time I stepped out of a business, though. That would be my only change. I learned some hard lessons trying to lead and coach and do that from a distance.
Yeah, maybe you would have just stayed there for 6 months while you were stepping out to try to see what that was going to be like. I've done a lot of businesses long distance, and there are so many pros and cons to it. And and the pro is like lifestyle and being able to be in multiple places at once. And one of the cons is you and I are video chatting right now. Getting to see you in person, we get to have conversations that are deeper than we would be if we were just on the phone or driving down the street, calling each other. But still, video technology can't do quite what just being able to see someone in person can do with energy. Exactly. Something else you said before we dig into the questions, you said you got your real estate license when you turned 18. You're still in real estate. I've probably changed careers 18 times since I turned 18. How did you know at 18 you wanted to get into real estate and you're still here? It's crazy.
It's funny that you say that because I've got a few stories around getting into real estate at 18. I did get my license the month I turned 18. And truthfully, I didn't know if I wanted to stay in real estate. I just saw the big paychecks and I thought, if these guys can do it, I should do this.
Oh, yeah.
I actually got my entrepreneurship degree from the university while I was selling real estate and building a team and figuring those things out. But what I've learned in real estate is when you start to master one piece of it, it unlocks other opportunities. So when you start to recognize how to do comparables and see when something's below market, you become better at buying investments. And it's really fun to buy investments. And then you decide that you want to do some flipping, or you decide you want to build another business. It's an ancillary business. So the cool thing about real estate is all the different pathways it allows you to take once you've created one piece of success. And I think that's what's kept me in this game is how fun it is to explore the various pathways. One thing, though, that almost did get me out of real estate was I didn't sell a house for the first 9 months I had my license. And I don't know if it was a combination of I thought I was too young, I didn't know how to find clients, I was using my senior picture from high school on my business cards.
That's good.
It was probably all of those things. And I wish I knew, and I'm sure you'd ask a question like this, but as we're talking about it, I think what I wish I knew back then was the importance of going and finding leads and really working a database and then following up with those people. Because at first I was kind of like, well, I'll tell a bunch of people I'm in real estate and hopefully they'll send me something. And I failed. For 9 months, I didn't sell anything. And finally, I figured out at about the 6th or 7th month, like I should probably find some leads or somebody to call. I should do some open houses. I should do something to make this business work. And then I from month 9 through month 12, I sold 11 houses. So sometimes you're in that grind of figuring out what you're doing, building your confidence, understanding where business comes from, all those things that take a little bit of time to figure out, and then something clicks when you least expect it. So that was my failure story that turned into a success.
Yeah, no listings, no deals the first 9 months, and then how many did you say the last 3 months of the year?
11 months in the last 3 months of that first year. Yeah, 11 deals. Sorry, 11 deals in the last 3 months. Yeah.
So it's like, you averaged one a month, except for you did it all the last 3 months. That's so important for real estate people. We've got listeners of all types on here. We've got veterans doing it for so many years. We got people that just got their license last week and they're just figuring out like what's the best podcast out there for real estate agents. And so as they get to hear some of that's got to be really inspiring to say, hey, if you're out there and you've been digging at this for 5 or 6 months, it is not too late to become a huge success as a real estate agent. But now you have to start working some of those systems you haven't done yet. And maybe you're still going to get paid 3 months from now from a system you've been working for the last 3 months. So getting started is hard. You roll that pipeline, then it gets going. Well, let's dig into some of the nitty gritty stuff that's very focused on you. I mean, now all of our listeners know for sure you're a guy they want to be able to listen to. You started at 18, you grew that, but so now we're looking many years later. You got all these teams, you got all these people, there's different offices, you live in a couple places. How many houses have you sold in the last 12 months? What was your volume on that? What were your gross commissions?
Yeah, our real estate team did 150 units in the last 12 months, and our brokerage did 1,200 units in the last 12 months. So managing and training the brokerage agents, and then also leading the specific team of my own. So that ended up being about 30 million in volume, and the GCI was right around 2.9% of that 30 million.
That is so awesome. And you're a family guy too, as you're growing this life. Maybe that's we get to chat about at the end. So for you, when it comes to listings versus buyers agents, for you personally, do you take some yourself, or are you just a team lead owner right now? Do you still take listings?
What's funny is I went about 3 years with taking no listings, no buyers. And in the last 6 months or a year, I had to step back into our team and start doing a little bit more of that. And the reason for that is I realized that the industry is starting to change and it's getting competitive in a different way. The market's feeling a little bit of squeeze. There's a lot of competitors that are bringing technology and trying to take our business away from us. And our leads, where they were coming from, was starting to dry up. We had different sources that used to be very lucrative that no longer work. And so I said, I need to step back in and make sure that we've got the right system and we're doing the right thing for our clients. And we've got to optimize where our business is coming from. And we've sold 100 to 150 homes for 4 years straight. So it's been kind of one of those pain points where we haven't grown to the extent we could have if I'd been in it really watching that. So I stepped back in and I started taking buyers, and I really started documenting the systems of how do we create amazing experiences for our consumers such that 1, we could charge more, and 2, we would attract more people to us. And so in the last year, I've actually been doing both buyers and sellers and documenting both those pieces. But my favorite is definitely sellers. I definitely prefer working with listings.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's great advice too. At different times, as agents become entrepreneurs, become team leads, there's kind of this thing of going, all right, so now I'm not taking listings anymore. I'm not doing this anymore because I've kind of elevated to be able to help more people, but not being afraid as an entrepreneur to actually dig in and do the nitty gritty, especially when something isn't quite working right. Because you're going to be the one that knows your market, knows your people. Last year I had to do that a couple times with my real estate investment business. I had to really dive in and go drive and see all the properties myself and see some of the stuff that was under construction and see why it wasn't renting out or why it wasn't selling. And then, re-diving in with my team and hiring new agents. And I spent a few months just like training every day. And went from going and had to tell my family, sorry, we're not traveling the next few months. I've got to dig in and do training. So wherever you are in that entrepreneur journey, being aware of what's happening, seeing, your listings are drying up, stuff's slowing down, and not being afraid to jump back in and going, all right, I'm going to fix this. Like, I'm not going to wait till it's broken and I've got nothing left. I see the numbers going a little bit in the wrong direction. I'm going to jump in and see if I can fix that. That is awesome. So just now you were just talking about leads. What's your number one source for leads out there?
Yeah, we've always done a lot from online sources. So between Facebook ads, Google ads, other miscellaneous long tail SEO, and then review sites have been our major source. Right behind that would be Sphere database, working the same people that we've worked in the past, and also relationships. no matter what, the name of the game in real estate is database. So as you're building leads, or as you're connecting with people at open houses, or as you're working, whatever sources you're working, your number one goal is to add them to your list. Even if they're not ready to buy yet, if they're somewhere, or sell yet, if they're somewhere in the spectrum of buying or selling in the next 2 to 5 years, 1 to 5 years, then we want to have them in our database and be communicating with them about homeownership and about what the market is doing. Because what we found is that oftentimes the people in our database, they're looking to invest in houses. They're looking to know what the market is in their neighborhood. They're looking to have referrals from vendors, and you're building long-term relationships with that business. So we've really tried to increase the database business. Majority of our leads come in from the internet, though.
Yeah, I've heard that so many times. Like, the time flies, right? Like, before you know it, that's going to happen. So you meet somebody and they say, "Hey, you know, when I get a job, I'm going to buy a house, or in a few years, I'm going to buy a house." And it's like, don't just set that off and go, "Oh, you're not ready." Like, put them in your list, put the timer in, and say, "All right, so now in 2.5 years, I'm going to call them, see if they're ready yet." Or, you know, "I heard you got a job. I'm going to follow them on Facebook."
Do the math. It's worth every single dollar. That's a title of a comment that I got on my certified listing agent course from Rebus University. It's from Bill Reeg. This is what Bill says. Bill says, "Looking to take your listing presentation to the next level? I've closed 100 appointments since I took Pat's certified listing agent course. 5 appointments, 5 new clients, 60 days. Boom, do the math. It's worth every single dollar." Thanks, Bill. But listen, guys, I am offering this to you if you haven't already taken it, because so many brokers and teams make their agents take it before they do a single listing appointment. But if you haven't taken it, you can go to rebusuniversity.com and get it now. Now, here's the thing. For 30 days, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you that course. I'm going to give you the buyer agent course, which teaches you how to close every single serious buyer that calls on the phone or emails. The certified team agent course is taught by Jeff Cohn, one of America's top agents, on how to build a team from 0 to hero to hundreds and hundreds of units every year, step by step. It's like a 12-hour course, plus 7 other courses. Yes, you heard that right. All for a measly $127 a month. If you were to go to Rebus University and buy these courses individually, it costs you over $10,000. But today, if you go to futureofrealestatetraining.com, that's futureofrealestatetraining.com, you'll learn what Bill Reeg did, which is how to close 100% of the listing appointments you go on. Quite impressive. And you'll learn all the other incredible details provided in the 11 5-star courses that are offered. Yeah, it's like all you can eat bazaar. You go in now and you pay $127 a month. If you can eat all 11 courses in 1 month, that's all you pay is $197. This is a bargain, guys. Get it now. Futureofrealestatetraining.com. Hey, Real Estate Rockstars, this is Pat Hyben, and before we jump back into today's content, I want to tell you about an extraordinary offer from an extraordinary company. I'm talking about My Outdesk. If you haven't heard of My Outdesk, basically they're a virtual assistant company, a VA company that specializes in virtual assistants for real estate agents. Yeah, I'm talking about transaction coordinators, marketing assistants. I'm talking about ISAs, inside sales agents that prospect thousands and thousands of seller leads and buyer lead follow-ups. I mean, these guys are trained in this stuff specifically. You're not using a company that doesn't know or understand real estate sales. 4 out of 5 of the top teams in the US use My Outdesk for their virtual assistants. And because I know the owner, Daniel Ramsey, I've known him for over a decade, and I know how awesome and incredible this company is and how it saves agents thousands and thousands of dollars every single week and makes them thousands and thousands of more every single week. We're going to give you a $400 coupon off of your first month of a virtual assistant and give you a free book entitled Scaling Your Business with Virtual Professionals. So you can read it and look into it before you decide anything. It's called Scaling Your Business with Virtual Professionals. And you can get it real easy. All you got to do is text the word HIBAN, H-I-B-A-N, to 31996. That's H-I-B-A-N to 31996. and download your free book, Scaling Your Business with Virtual Professionals. And don't forget to mention also that you get a $400 discount, which will give you a coupon for that when you download the book. Thank you guys, and I hope you enjoy and make a ton of money using my Outdesk.
How do you, what sort of technology do you use to keep track of your leads out there?
Yeah. So here's what I know. There's no perfect CRM. I wish there was. I've been searching. I've switched so many times. It's killed me. Right. And there's some that work really well and some that work really well for certain people. What I know is that you've got to use the system that works best for you. I'm with Keller Williams, so we use KW Command to track all of our leads and all of our contacts, and then to keep notes with those people. But truthfully, we had to actually get all of our agents to get back onto binders with what we call lead books. And we would take our intake sheets and we'd stick them in the binder under a month tab. So we'd have, January through December, the month tabs. And we take the intake sheet that has at least their contact info, their motivation, and their time frame. I have to have those three things for it to be considered a warm or a hot lead for us to continue following up with. That's their contact info, their time frame when they say they're going to do something, and a real motivation. Not just, I'm thinking about selling because I want to get the highest price on the market. So if I have those three things on my intake sheet, I'm going to put them in the month when they told me they were going to take action. And I'm going to have this lead book for January, February, March, all the way through December for the next 12 months. So I want the next 12 months of leads in my binder. And I know that it's low tech. I mean, I'm a young guy. I love technology. I use a ton. I use Zoom every single day for video conferencing, for conversations. And yet I think that a lead book, a binder you carry around where a lead calls in, you get their motivation, you get their time frame, you have their contact info, and you put them in your book, makes for a better follow-up process. I need something tangible, or else I lose track of who I needed to reach out to. So then on either the first of the month or the first week of the month, I tell our team, go to your lead book, which probably has 30 to 100 people because you're only keeping the really warm, solidly motivated people in there, and call through the entire book. Everyone that's doing something in a month, everyone that's doing something in a year. Maybe the ones that are doing something in a month, you're probably talking to once a week or even 2 to 3 times a week. But the ones that are 2 to 12 months out, you're calling at least once a month, and you're just checking in to see what they need. Do they need recommendations from a stager? Do they need your vendor list? Have they decided to move up their time frame? Would they consider selling if you're able to find them a buyer ahead of time? So we just check in and touch on those people. And what we found is people often change their time frame, move it up, or they would sell if we could find them a buyer right away. So then we can go to our buyers at open houses or in other situations where we find buyers and say, hey, I've got a whole bunch of wood cells. I got that term from my buddy, Ben Kinney. He always says, make a list of wood cells, all the people that aren't on the market that would sell if you could find them a buyer, and then use that as a lead magnet to both attract buyers and provide a service to buyers when it's a hot market and they can't find the property they're looking for. So we go take our list of people that would sell, and then we can go market that to the buyer. So binders to follow, isn't that crazy? I mean, a lead binder with pieces of paper, but that's my best recommendation for following up with leads at a high level.
Dude, that is so much info in there. I mean, rewind and listen to
Sorry.
that last minute again. No, because what Matt just did there is if you, wherever you are in your real estate career, if you're trying to figure out like, what's a hot topic? Like he just gave you the secret of how he's successful. Like, so when you meet that person, they say, hey, I'm thinking about selling a house, maybe in October, whether you like take it out a note. My dad used to have like a set of like note cards in his upper pocket, and he'd always just pull out the note card and write a note. Whether you take it on the note card and write it, or you put it on your phone when you get to the office, then you put it on your piece of paper, but being able to put that in a binder. And then when March comes, you pull it out, you call them and you say, hey, are you still thinking about it? They might go, you know what, call me back in May. So then you move it in your binder. I bet, by looking at that too, you can start to see what your visual kind of stack is, like which months do you have a lot of people? When am I going to be busy? What else you can do to get out there. The other tip of calling some of them early, then those questions that Matt asked them, Matt just mentioned, when he calls them, if he's going to call them this month, even if they say, May or June, and he's just going to go, hey, is there anything I can help you with? Like, do you need a stager? Do you want to talk to somebody else? Do you want to talk to a handyman to get that house ready? Like, I know you're not ready to sell yet, but what service can I offer for you? And then they might go, you know what, the service you need right now is, they might just say, I need a handyman. They might just say, I need a stager. They might say they change their mind, or they might say, we need you to help us, or, we're glad you called back. I give a lot of credit to people that call me back later, months and months later, when I told them like, hey, maybe I'll think about this at renewal time. And then they do call me back at renewal time. I'm like, all right, you worked hard for this. I'm going to try to reward that.
Totally.
I think that is so good. So we just jumped through a lot. We kind of just got to skip through a lot of the questions that we usually talk about with one of the best things out there. One of the fun ones I like to ask is is there a special phone app you use out there?
Phone app. That's a great question. Besides my podcast player, I really love the Scannable app by Evernote, because I can easily throw things into my Evernote. Like on the go, one of the worst things I do is carry around paper. I always have paper with me, right? So there's these things that I have, and I'm like, I need to save this somewhere, but it ends up just creating piles on my desk. So just being able to scan that into your Evernote, saving that, putting that into Google Drive, whatever your specific information system is, a way to not carry around as much paper. It's probably my best recommendation.
Yeah. So I like that one too. There, so many of those. It's funny because there's a lot of technologies out there. I still have to journal by hand. That's like the only thing that I can't put into my phone. I haven't been able to use some of those for that. But when you're actually taking pictures of the stuff you wrote down so you could see it later, I think that works out really well.
Tribeofmillionaires.com. Guys, write that down. Rockstar Nation got a free special offer for you. Now, I've just written a book, and it's just been published. Co-authored it with David Osborne, who's been on this show multiple times. If you don't know David, he is one of the top execs at Keller Williams Real Estate, was personally mentored for the last 2 decades by Gary Keller himself, and he's in all kinds of businesses. His bio and explanation and everything is in this book. But anyways, David and I got together. We decided to write a book. We called it Tribe of Millionaires. And I guarantee you it's going to change your life. To find out more, just go to tribeofmillionaires.com. We're going to give it to you absolutely free. Only thing we ask in return is, of course, number one, you pay the shipping. Not a big deal. But number two, that you go on Amazon and write us a review. We're really looking to get an incredible amount of reviews. And because of that, we're giving this book away for free. Go to tribeofmillionaires.com today. Rockstar Nation, thanks so much for listening. Don't forget to stay to the end, where our guests will be offering a free gift. As you know, all of our guests offer a free gift, and all of these gifts can be found on the Agent Success Toolbox. You could find that by going to hibandigital.com/toolbox, or simply texting the word toolbox to 444-999. That's toolbox to 444-999. I am going to put today's free gift in today's show notes, but if you want all of them, including gifts from most of our guests that have come on the show, just go to the Agent Success Toolbox.
We talked a little bit at the beginning about like your early failure, your first 9 months of failure that turned into a win. Can you think of a failure over the last couple of years that became that thing that that's really helped you with what's next in your career?
Oh gosh, a failure is my favorite thing now, because I can look back on it and realize, like, if I can iterate and change this and never do this again, my business will get better and more protected from the outside. The first couple of failures that come to mind, especially when I think about agents maybe that are newer in their career and the middle of their career, I think about follow-up. And what I think of specifically is I had an agent come into my office a few years ago, and she said, Matt, can I bring some of the other new agents or some of the new agents into your office and pick up the breadcrumbs? And I'm like, what do you mean the breadcrumbs? And she said, yeah, you've got all these Post-it notes sitting around with names and phone numbers on them. And I'm pretty sure you generated these leads. You made a bunch of money, or you've spent a bunch of money creating these leads, and you've done nothing with them. And she was right. She said, you probably have $10 million of volume just laying on the floor, laying on your desk. And it was true. And I learned at that moment that one of the most important things that we do in real estate is not just generate leads or find new business. It's also following up with the business. We kind of touched on that a second ago, and you said, call back in 6 months, that idea. I think that is the failure that we often miss. And I think of a specific example. A few years ago, I had a past client. I'd sold his house before, and then he had me come meet with him to buy another house 2 years after I sold his house. He said, I'm ready to buy another house. I want to spend about $900,000 to $1.2 million. I said, awesome. It's a great price in Albuquerque. And so we went out and saw houses. We found a great house. We made an offer. The seller didn't accept. So we moved on. He actually was living in a different state at the time. So we went back to that state, and I said, well, let's talk again in the next couple of days, email you, and let's make sure to connect on the next property. I'm sure we'll find something for you. Well, I put him on a drip campaign from the MLS. They call those client portals. And it had all the properties coming up in that neighborhood dripping on him. And I got busy that month. It was June. We had a lot of transactions going on, and I didn't call him. And I didn't really realize how long it had been. It had been 3 weeks, and I hadn't talked to him on the phone. But I'd been sending him emails. I'd been dripping on him through the client portal. And I finally called him back, and I said, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I just realized it's been a couple of days," because I was trying to make light of it. "Been a couple of days since I last talked to you." And he said, "Oh, Matt, we didn't hear from you after we made that offer and it didn't go through. We thought you didn't want to work with us or that you were mad at us. So we hired a different realtor. We made an offer on a different property." And I said, "Oh, that's too bad. I really want to work with you. I know you were thinking about buying a rental property too. Can I help you with the rental property?" And he said, "Oh, Matt, we actually made an offer on both properties. We've got about $1.4 million in pending right now." 3 weeks later, right? And I learned my follow-up lesson through failure. So one of the things that I would just encourage agents is oftentimes we think that we're going to bug people, or we're afraid of bothering them. And what the follow-up book does, what that story tells us is we got to stay on top of those leads even when we think that it might be annoying, and make sure that we're providing value, not bugging them, but staying in contact regularly. And the warmer the lead is, the more contact we need to be. If they're less than a month out, we probably need to be talking to them every 1 to 2 days. And if they're 2 to 4 months out, we need to be talking to them once a week. And if they're 4 to 12 months out, we need to be calling them once a month, so that we're the person that stays in contact. And I'll share the script that I use. If ever someone seems annoyed or they seem bugged, like, "Matt, you've called me 3 times and I told you I'm not selling until December," then I tell them this exact thing. And it's one of the most powerful scripts you can use if somebody seems annoyed or if you're worried about them being annoyed. And I'd say, "Aaron, can I explain to you why I call you so often?"
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, let's see what's next.
Yeah, the reason that I reach out to you so often is because realtors are notorious for poor communication and poor customer service. And I didn't want you to think I was one of those realtors, so that's why I touch base with you so often. So that when you are ready to hire a realtor, you know that I'm the type of realtor that's going to take really great care of you. And that completely disarms any sort of bothering, right?
Right.
Now I followed up with, when would you like me to follow up with you, right? But at that point, I want to eliminate the objection that realtors are bad at communication and bad at customer service. I'm not that realtor. You should hire me.
Yeah. And you don't want them to say, like, "Don't worry, I'll call you." So you got to tell them, like, "No, I'm not going to take that because I'm the guy." Yet that example too that's why there's no perfect CRM, right? Like the fact that you didn't call the guy, and so he hired somebody else when you did essentially what the CRM would do, right? The emails, that sort of thing. So there is, the phone call, like there's no, and everyone is going to be slightly different based on their dollar amount, based on how eager they were, based on how close they were. And, the other thing that you shared, like the difference is if somebody's planning to buy this month, you should be calling them more often than the people that are trying to buy in a year, because if not, somebody else will be. I mean, I've had a couple times recently where, I listed a house of mine for sale. We took it off the market, and the moment it went off the market, I got like 18 phone calls that day, from agents saying, "Hey, do you still want to sell your house? I'm going to be able to sell it for top dollar. I just sold it in the neighborhood." 18 guys within a day. The first call started happening at 6 a.m. And so if you don't make the call, somebody else will find your lead. Someone else is going to find them the way that they did, and they're going to get that. And it was funny when the guy calls me at 6 a.m. Part of me goes, "Dude, it's 6 a.m." And the other part of me goes, he was like, "Hey, it's a $2 million listing. I'm going to be first. Like I'm going to call it 6 a.m. And I'm sure his objection would have been the same thing. I want you to know that I'm willing to call whoever I need to at whatever time to sell your house. So if you aren't taking care of your leads, someone else is going to be taking care of your lead. If you were going to go back in time and say, "Hey, Matt, you're getting started in real estate, what advice would you give yourself as a rookie agent? What's the one thing you think would make the most impact?"
Besides the things I've already shared, the other big thing I would tell a new agent or a rookie agent is it's really important to watch your profitability. And it's really easy in this industry to play ego over profitability. There's a lot of top agents I know that sell several hundred to several thousand leads, and they make less money than the guy that sells 50 to 100 with a great assistant running a really profitable business. And so sometimes I think that we get too excited about hitting the award, hitting the volume numbers, hitting the GCI numbers, and then we don't look at the profit number. And so I'm always looking at and measuring, what's my profitability in this team? What's the percentage of this revenue that's turning into profitability? And if it's not greater than 25%, you should just refer out the business. You'd make more money by referring it than working it yourself or working it with your team. And many times I see that the profitability numbers are hurt, or they're not as good when you start scaling a team or adding team members.
Yeah, and that's kind of like what you said at the beginning too. The goal first is to build a business before you hire someone. You need to build a business that can actually afford to hire somebody. I know a lot of people too that as soon as they start building, they can't wait till they hire their first assistant. They can't wait till they hire their first something to help, and being able to tell them, hey, make sure that you're actually working so much now that you're earning so much that it's going to be easy to do that. Like, I want to teach everybody how to work less and live more, and how to scale to run these companies where they aren't working every day. But there is a process that takes of building up and getting there that people have to get through first. One of the fun things I want to talk to you about. So this week you're going to be kind of taking my seat and taking Pat's seat. You're going to be interviewing a few people this week. What are you the most excited about? So when you guys come on and you hear Matt Templeton is today's host of the Real Estate Rockstars, don't be surprised. Like you've heard from him, he's going to be great at asking questions, great at people. But what excites you the most about either the people you're going to be interviewing, or just coming on and getting to share some of your stories and ask good questions for the podcast?
Well, selfishly, one of the best parts about being a host on this podcast is getting to explore the stories of top producers. And so when we unpack that, like, I get as much value as the listeners do. And that's one of the things I'm most excited about. But truthfully, I think there's also an aspect where if we can listen to what somebody else is doing and copy them, we can skip some of the heartache. Now, the one thing that I also want listeners to hear is that the most successful people, at least from my experience, they have built businesses that give them leverage, that give them time off, that give them that freedom. Many times we get into real estate for more money, more freedom, more flexibility, and because we're passionate about the industry or passionate about houses, right? And oftentimes we get hamstrung by our freedom, our flexibility, and no finances. And instead of being able to actually win that opportunity, we get stuck in this hamster wheel of frustration. And so what I often tell new agents, and what I'm so excited to unpack, is the grit and the hard work that agents put in at the beginning, the failure they went through, and help some of our agents that are in those growing parts of their career, even the new parts of their career, to say, I'm going to put in the hard work now so that I can earn the right to have the flexibility and freedom I want in the future, and really get the finance that I want, and not get the fourth F, which is failure, right? So I think that's the thing I'm most excited about. I love hearing stories of failure. I love hearing stories of grit, and I love hearing stories of people saying, I'm going to work hard on the front end to really build something that allows me to have what I want for my family and my life.
Yeah, man, I cannot wait to hear the questions that you ask as you get to unpack, kind of the grit and the stories out there for the other agents. Because again, you're a rock star, agent yourself, and so I know you'll be able to ask the best questions. One of the last things, a lot of our people come on and they come up with a free gift. Now, the free gift I really want is your business card that has your senior picture on it. But if you weren't going to share that with us, and what your first business card is, what do you plan on sharing?
Well, I think as I was thinking about this, I realized many real estate agents run entrepreneurially, and they're selling as many houses as they can. And eventually they realize that the leverage that gets you to the next level is systems. And the more you can have checklists and processes and systems, the faster and more efficient your business gets. So specifically, I talked about in that lead book that we use an intake sheet. We have a buyer intake sheet and a seller intake sheet. Those are the questions we ask buyers and sellers before we go on an appointment with them. So it's got about 30 questions on each side. I'm going to go ahead and give you guys the PDFs of those. It's just part of our system we use. They can go ahead and print those out, keep them in their binders, hole punch them, and put them in the months where their leads say that they're motivated to sell. And I think that'd be a great opportunity, the buyer and seller intake sheets.
Yes, from what we've talked about, I cannot think of a better kind of free gift to having that system. We have everything on the link. You can go to our agent toolbox, and anybody that listens to us, you'll be able to see Matt's custom page at hibandigital.com. And then Matt, if somebody wanted to reach out to you, where can we find you? Where's the best place for people to come have a chat with you?
Yeah, DM me on Facebook. You can find me under my page or my personal profile, Matt Templeton, or follow us on Instagram at templeton.realestate, templeton.realestate. DM us on either platform.
And how about, are you, and if you want to come find us, Real Estate Rockstars, at RE Rockstars at Instagram. We got Real Estate Rockstars Radio on YouTube. You can come find me on Instagram. It's at Aaron Amuchastegui. So as long as you know how to spell Aaron and you add a few more letters, it's AARONAMU. After that, it's going to auto search and find it, because very few people have as strange of a name as I do out there. But Hope you guys get to come chat with us a bunch. Matt, it's always good to see you, man. The that first Go Abundance event I went to, that first mastermind, you were one of the first people I met. It was up in Tahoe, and like I said at the beginning, your personality was just so great and so awesome that I knew we would become friends after that. And now it's many years later, and now you're growing your own family, and your businesses are crushing it and loving it. So thanks for coming on today. It was a lot of fun.
Thanks, Aaron. Appreciate you.
Rockstar Nation, thank you for listening to Real Estate Rockstars. Listen, I need a favor. If you find this free content helpful, if you find our downloadable items from each guest helpful, please, I need you to pull out your pointing finger. Yes, the one finger that points at people, and hit subscribe. Yes, subscribe. The more subscribers we get, the better we look in the ratings, and the easier it is to get guests like Robert Kiyosaki, Barbara Corcoran, all the players that are on $1 million listing in the different cities. All that stuff makes it easier the more subscribers we get, so please subscribe. And listen, there's a lot of places you can leave comments. There's a lot of places you can like. We're on Facebook. We have an Instagram page. Instagram page is I am Pat Hyben. The Facebook is Real Estate Rockstars Radio. Feel free to leave us comments there. The most popular form of commenting seems to happen on YouTube. Yes, for whatever reason, it's a very open environment. So just go to YouTube and go to Real Estate Rockstars Radio. Leave us comments there. Some of them we will read on the show. We love your feedback. So thanks, guys, and I hope you are having a great day. Oh, and also, listen, if you're going to subscribe and you haven't already left a review on iTunes, please do that too. Have a great day, and thanks so much, Rockstar Nation. I really appreciate you.